Good evening, and continuing with my series of women power and digital entrepreneurship. I can see your laptop, so
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can hear you. Yes,
yeah. So,
I'm just
so
thinking
you
how do
need
I
to. Yeah, yeah. So great. I think you're such a fast kind of work that you have done, and getting here. I can see how fast and sharp you are, Swami. So
Thank you. I'm learning from you.
yeah, especially with technology, I can see that. I would have taken the same thing. I would have taken, a minimum of 1 hour to get it done. Uh, because I think it's also the resistance that is there in my mind. So are you
Uh,
comfortable there? Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm comfortable. Just that it's on phone, but yeah, it's good. We can at least
Yeah,
get started.
yeah, it's just that the light, there is a too much of glow there. We can't see you clearly. Maybe you can sit against the light. I'm not sure. So that we can, if there's too much of a glow that's coming in there
Okay,
on your face.
let me just check if I can change my
Yeah.
position. Is this any better?
Yeah, this is much better, much better, much better. Yeah,
Okay, great.
thank you so much, Swami. Thank you, thank you. I mean, I think this is, it's all happened in a jiffy. I mean, but I'm glad that it is happening. I wanted to actually quickly, there are people already watching. I'm glad, that we're doing this. It's basically the objective of these interviews is, to make a difference in terms of all these videos being a ready reckoner, say for a
Right,
woman to have a look at it and see if they can take certain suggestions, ideas, or actions for them to implement
right,
in their day-to-day life. Right.
right.
So the topic is, of course, about women power and digital entrepreneurship, and I've got an opportunity to interview a lot of them. The idea just came in one day when I got up saying, why not I do this? Because when people hear from leaders, right, whether it is leaders who've had experience, whether people like you in the entrepreneurship journey, people who've been, heading learning and development, heading BNI. In fact, Shanjana Shah is someone whom I've interviewed. Of course, the video abruptly stopped. I'm going to redo that. And there is Suman Rangabhasham, there's Dashveer Singh, then there's the learning and development, Ramad Jaldurgam, and then there were certain digital experts also. I'm very glad that people are agreeing to this. And I think one of the reasons why they're agreeing is because of the topic. And I would
Sure,
assume that with you too,
sure.
because let me, for the benefit of the viewers, also sort of give a brief introduction of you, Swami. Swami, as I've also put it up in the poster, is the founder and CEO of www.foodin.com, has greater than
Food and
15
I.
years of experience. Sorry?
Food and I.
Food and I, is it?
Right.
Okay, sorry. I
Okay.
know it's very close to your heart. Yeah. So greater than 15 years of experience, worked for Microsoft, Oracle, and quit IT and ventured into the startup journey, owning his own company from 2009 onwards. And this is one whom we should really speak to, because he's been in this entrepreneur journey for a while now, and I'm sure you must have experienced a lot of people, whether men or women, struggling in this journey. And
Sure.
Swami's interest actually is bungee jumping, golfing, and reading. So great to have you here, Swami, and thank you again for accepting for this interview. So if you're
Likewise.
comfortable, yeah.
Yeah. So likewise,
Yes.
Preetha, thank you so much for having me here. So I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting to get interviewed as such, but then yeah, nice to share
Yeah.
some of my own learnings. All of us would have gone through our own journey. Each journey will bring in different learnings. So I'm happy to
Yes.
be here, sharing my own learnings.
Great. Great. Thanks. Swami. So I'm like, in my mind it is Swami or Anand, because, I see you as Swami.
Okay,
Swami Gopal. Sorry. So sorry if
sure.
I'm like,
No, no, Swami is
so,
good.
right. So, in fact, I must tell all of you that I actually met Swami in the launch of the first BNI chapter, Topaz, which is an online chapter that's got launched in Hyderabad. And the kind of persistent perseverance and effort that Swami has exhibited as a leader. I think one of the reasons why I've joined BNI Topaz is wholly because of Swami. The kind
Oh my.
of, I mean, I'm very frank and open in saying that, Swami, because I didn't even know that you weren't a part of, because I thought you were part of Topaz and you're trying to lead this, but the kind of leadership that you really showed, logic at the same time, care that you showed in, making it happen. And that's one of the reasons why I've joined this chapter. Of course, it's a different discussion about that, but I wanted to let people to know about that. So if you're comfortable, I'll start off with the first question, Swami. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah, shoot.
Yeah. So apart from me knowing you and, why do you think this topic is important, Swami? And the topic is, of course, women power in digital entrepreneurship. The reason why I'm doing this is I am a women's independence coach, as you're aware, and I'm trying to, so please go ahead.
See, I think if you look at the entire history of India, right, culturally, I think we're all used to the notion of women being at home, surrounded by the four walls. And today, if you look at the digital technologies, I'm kind of completely shifting focus from decades, centuries here. With the digital technologies, what it can do is it provides a leapfrogging opportunities for a lot of women, and it helps in economic empowerment, right? And then it would also liberate them to become more independent, and they would also come into the foreplay to contribute towards economic growth, not just being independent, to the growth of the country itself. It's a bigger picture. So in those lines, I think technology is going to empower women even more stronger now, more than ever. So I think in those lines, for most of women, the real task would be having a balancing act between their professional life and their personal lives. I think it helps if woman gets an opportunity to learn more through flexible learning models, and technology would provide those flexible learning models.
Very nicely said. Yes. So what you're saying is, in these times, I mean, post-COVID more so, I mean, who knew that we all will be actually doing these kind of things,
right?
Webinars after webinars. And as I keep saying in other interviews too, today, my daughter's teachers also are doing online lessons, struggling to log into Zoom, but have to do those lessons online. So, sure. So what you're saying is it more so provides opportunities for women.
Absolutely.
In terms of the flexibility is something that which they keep looking at, right?
Correct. Because no matter the dynamics of any country, Preetha, from schooling to the corporate world, if we look at it, the technology will kind of provide a transformation opportunities. Today, if we look at from the schooling, your career is pretty much defined or decided by certain factors. Your friends being one of the factor, your parents being another factor, right? So in those lines, more often than not, the career choices that one would choose, be it a boy or a girl, at that age itself, you're predefining them, saying that, okay, if you're a girl, you're more oriented towards soft skill developments, arts kind of thing, but then not focused towards what men are going after, right? So I think all those things will start changing because at a click of it, technology will certainly empower every individual, which means all the women to question themselves, if men can do this, why can't I, right? So once you start questioning in those belief systems, I think there will be a lot of transformational changes that would happen, and technology will play a certain role, and it will play a huge role.
Right. Excellent. So, in fact, I was interviewing one of the social media influencers, and I got an opportunity to do that. So, one of the things that he had mentioned is all the middlemen actually vanishes with the digital in the digital space, right? You know, call it Uber, Ola, or whatever these companies that are there, they're all actually women middlemen. So we really don't know what will happen to them. But in the digital space, it's you and I who's present, and we just need to go there and make a mark, whether by influencing through the social media or however that you plan. And you made a very valid point, and the women also will start questioning that, okay, I think now I can do this because it's just that online platform that I have to battle. There's nothing
Correct.
else. It's
Correct.
just battling of knowing the technology better, right?
Correct. Correct. So in the digital world, it's more about the quality over quantity, right? If you look at most of these corporate world, uh, more often than not, men end up spending a lot of time in networking areas. It's
Right.
never about being efficient or effective. And if you look at women, they're more efficient and effective because they start playing multiple roles. And they phase out over a period of time in the corporate world. But then those are things that I think fundamentally technology will change, because when you start leveraging the digital world, you're only focusing on quality, you're focusing on being efficient, you're focusing on being effective. So I think these three key areas are by nature, uh, the DNA of women has these ingrained in them, is what I strongly believe.
Okay. Oh, that's a interesting point. So what you're saying is, since women already have this being effective and efficient naturally, the digital world will help them to sort of leverage that.
Absolutely.
Instead of going around and networking, you actually are like focused and building systems. Is that what?
Correct. 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 Yep.
So that brings me to an aspect of how technology savvy and friendly sort of women think they are, and this is something is goes back to the growing up years, where when a child is playing, whether it's a boy or a girl, the child a boy child typically plays with cars and machines, as opposed to probably a girl child who would prefer playing with a Barbie doll or things like that, unless you expose them to those kind of things. And that's why men are from Mars and women are from Venus and things like
Right.
that, where they say that women are better in relationships, men in with cars and machines. So given that, there is this whole factor of some kind of a resistance that is there, say, for a woman to take up technology bang on, like, and set up the systems, and you go there, and so you have to market yourself too, whether it is
Correct.
off or online, right? So how do you think these things can be maneuvered, especially I wouldn't say that a woman can't do it, but then there are sort of inherent sort of research that is there, that McKinsey report that says, like in India,
Right.
from a women entrepreneurship standpoint, we are actually abysmally low. We are third from the bottom after
Right.
Pakistan and Bangladesh, and somehow women don't take those steps
Right.
of risks.
Right.
Probably in the south, somehow there is women who take those steps, as opposed to the north, and probably the
Right.
education levels, all of that, literacy levels, all of that is there.
Right.
So given all of this, now how do you think, where is the real problem, and how do you think women should actually tackle this, so to say, technology resistance, or yeah.
Okay. Sure. I think it's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. But then if you go a little deeper into that questions, there are a lot of findings published by various reports, right, which indicate that, like we spoke about, the career paths are decided much earlier in the stage, and gender diversity initiatives as such. If you look at most of the companies, they take a lot of time to reflect at top of any corporate world, any of the top corporate world, and it takes at least 5 to 10 years for the company to culturally identify that these are the leaders whom they want to position at different places. And if that had to happen, invariably networking plays a crucial role. And coming back to the point of being effective and efficient, men tend to spend more time at workplaces because of their nature of not being too accountable to go back home to play different roles, and women invariably feeling more accountable to go back home to play different roles, right? I think it's by nature. It's just that even though it's a mindset, I think by DNA, by nature, the human race itself, men are of certain pattern. Most of the men, right? So I think in those lines, if you see, when we take digital world again as an example, how a woman can transform itself, they would be able to learn, contribute more by staying at home, playing different roles, and still be able to make an impact, right? So that change that we are going to see now, thanks to COVID. Had it not been COVID, it would have been even more difficult. But now people are able to accept the fact that women at home taking care of multiple things can still digitally be accessible and contribute various requirements of an organization.
Right. So very interesting. Nicely you have put it, Swami, saying, we naturally wanting to do play the role of, self-care and family and balancing work and life and all of that. So here is an opportunity where you work from home. Mine is 100% home office. You work from home, you step out, you probably look at your daughter, your husband, come back, whatever, and still continue. So in that sense, yes. But I would also want to ask a question on, so what then should be the role of men, in sort of supporting this whole, so one way of looking at it is, so since you have this natural nature of playing different roles, so they will anyway do it, and now there is more opportunity. So the man in the house is also there. And so what do you think, how do you think should the narrative be in terms of change of thought process that a man should do in terms of support? Because one of the data points that again McKinsey report says is, in case a woman starts off a entrepreneurship journey, in terms of finances, it's almost zero support that she gets. And and most of them start off from disadvantaged communities. Even if they start, they're all from disadvantaged communities. So of course today's government, they're giving a lot of support. There is something called Rupeya debit card or something like that Modi's government has come up with. But overall, if you look at it, financially also there is almost zero support, for a woman to start a business in case. So how do you think should, the narrative of a man change, whether it is with their sons or whether it is generally, COVID situation where we are all working together at home and trying to balance. So what do you think?
So that's also an interesting question. It's more to do with women to introspect themselves more than men telling them these are the ways to do it, right? And when I say this with full conviction that most of the household, once a man comes back home, olden days, right? A part of the salary is given back to the lady at home, right? And whatever money is given to the lady at home, everything is managed, right from your grocery household expenses. Not just that, if there are any events which are coming to give a gift. So our moms are all used to putting their money into a small box. So any given point in time, there is a money at home, which means the lady at home was extremely good at managing finances, right? Fundamentally, they are extremely good at managing things. They're very good at planning. It's just that the lack of confidence, it's just that lack of exposure to go out and do things. It's a lack of support system being there. When you say support system, including the man supporting the woman, right? That not being there could be one of the reasons where the confidence levels could be a little low. And the fact that multifold responsibilities. So in those lines, when it comes to men, maybe we could, now that we are spending more time at home, we are able to share the workload at home, understand the pain closely, right? It's not easy. Taking care of household activities is never easy. Mopping the floor, if you have to do it, is not easy. And expecting your wife or mom to do it day in, day out is even more difficult. So I think sharing workload is one thing we should be able to support. Two, financially, most of the men don't hesitate to go out and ask for money from the network. When I say network, it could be friends, it could be taking risk in terms of pledging things to banks. I think risk-taking appetite is one thing maybe we could look at supporting women to go there and do it, saying that we are here, we will back you. Don't worry about on the finance aspect if something goes wrong. So I think that cushioning comfort factor is also critical, because more often than not, by nature, again, men take more risk. And if you look at a lot of banks, when 2008 financial system collapsed, the whole world, more so in India, every bank CEO or MD was run by a woman, because it was a crisis time. The need was not to be aggressive, was need of the hour to be sustained, stabilized. And women are very, very good at it. So I think in those times, men can come forward to support more.
Very good. So one thing you said is share work. Another thing is from a risk-taking ability, support them so that, you know, the step is taken. And I totally agree with that. See, given myself and in the kind of journey that I have been, you know, while you have certain savings and things like that, where actually taking the step of entrepreneurship, there is a lot of support I expect from my own husband. And I think I must thank him for, you know, saying, no, you go ahead, I'll plan this.
Right.
So these kind of things, if it is not done, for me to take that step boldly and to say that, yes, we're going to be planning for the next 6 months, and if it doesn't work, we can have other alternatives. Things like, if it, you know, I would go into a guilt kind of a, you know, mind frame. And then stepping out, and of course, you also need to get very aware that, you know, we probably have loan options. Even if the husband isn't supporting, there are other options, like you said. You know, you either ask friends or even banks and government today supporting women. If you go there with a proper business plan and actually pitch for it, there's every possibility that you get investment for it. So these are some things, you know, even I am not slowly. We need to get very aware of a lot of areas as an entrepreneur, and more so as a woman entrepreneur, I would
Especially now, Preetha, if we look at the ecosystem as such, right? Government is supporting all the women entrepreneurs, be it an MSME or an independent lady entrepreneur. There are a lot of investment communities for startup companies, right? Be it angel investments or the venture capital funds, various foreign funds which are flowing in. And they're also trying to look at encouraging women. If there are startups which are led by women, either as an independent alone co-founder or with the co-founders, there are a lot of instruments which are there in place that I think women has to just go lean on to try. So only if you try, you know more.
First of all, I think we need to know what are all those instruments. Where can you take the tools and instruments? So some kind of research and awareness has to be developed in the finance part of it itself. That yes, if your husband doesn't support, it's fine. You still have instruments where you can pitch yourself and take it up and probably take that step, right? Isn't it, Swami?
Absolutely.
So yeah. So I would like to sort of, so you've already spoken about how the e-learning industry can really help women. I mean, you've really emphasized on that point. And I wanted to sort of shift gears on again, a sensitive point. This is, of course, about cyber stalking and, you know, kind of challenges that everyone face, and also more so as a woman entrepreneur, because, you know, for me, for example, for me, the focus is my target audience is also women, because as a women's independence coach, I coach women to make goals for them. So I want leads also as women. So, you know, you have 70% of the population out there, online population, who are men. And there is, you know, research that also says that, you know, the kind of viewing and all that is not a pleasant viewing. And at the same time, you know, when you, there are people willing to buy products, there are people willing to buy if you sell education, India is in fact number 2 after China in terms of buying products online. But the thing is, when you want to sort of the reach there and you're trying to get the right kind of population, there are all kinds of suddenly comments and probably certain other unforeseen things that, you know, comes your way. And that's in fact one of the reasons why I was not also on public in Facebook. So the moment, you know, I was not able to handle this technology, I was wondering, okay, what to do now and things like that. But moment you open up a company of your own and you're in social media, you go public, there are people
Right.
asking you for friends request, and there's so many things that are happening. You have to manage that. How do you think, what are those top 2 or 3 things that you think a woman should do to manage these things really well? There are a lot of inputs that have come from others too. We'd love to
Right.
hear your viewpoint on this. Yeah.
Sure. I think, again, one of the
My
core
questions
things
are
will
too
be,
long. I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. I think fundamentally the upbringing will make a lot of a difference all throughout,
Yes.
right from your childhood days, right? If your
Mm-hmm.
parents in, instill and then imbibe a girl to be more strong in the mind, right? It's all in the mind first. I keep using this quote, right? If you strongly believe in the mind and start conceiving, you can achieve anything. The Napoleon Hill quote, right?
Yes.
So in those lines, I think it's all in the mind and the environment in which you are being brought up. If you look at the suburban places or the villages, the upbringing is completely different. In urban areas, at least, it has evolved, it has changed now. So upbringing becomes a super critical reason. As you grow in from college to your corporate world or any job that you get into, right? Even if you don't venture into entrepreneur's journey, what is more important is there will be challenges around us. If you are vocal, if you draw boundaries, it all depends on how you behave yourself too. So based on your own nature, a lot of challenges will come around. So it's an individual personality trait is what I feel. If you come across as too jovial, too open up personality, then there would be bigger threats that could come your way to handle. So if you draw certain boundaries, certain lines to manage yourself, I think online world is much easier to handle. Offline is even more difficult because you can't gauge the mind of a person, and the physical threats are much more challenging.
Yes. Yeah, that way I would agree, because you can easily block people online, especially in Facebook, but you can't do that when you're in the external world. So that's something that I'm very happy doing, blocking people. So that's good. But then there's a very valid point that you made, that the kind of message that you send as an entrepreneur, whether it is man or woman, that's something that you need to look into. And now we're talking about women power in digital entrepreneurship. The kind of messages, articles, videos, all those things that you send on a consistent basis will actually, matter. I mean, people will start understanding that, oh, this is serious business. It's not just say, even if you do it in a personal profile, I mean, the kind of messages that you send in there, because it's public view, it's for public view, is what is the point you were trying to make, right? And I totally agree with this. In fact, when I started this journey of going public in Facebook, I didn't have a business profile. I did it in my personal profile because I was not active. I was in fact thinking I should delete all the photographs there. There were also views about people saying that people should know both your personal and professional life, because they want to view you as an individual, because they like you first than your product. If people are buying your product, it's actually they're buying you in some sense. So there is a little bit of trust that you need to develop. So I was like trying to see what are the things that I should delete, and of course made a separate page, which is a professional page, and all my articles and everything. Nowadays, I think my friends would exit slowly out of my profile, because it's just business related stuff that I send in there. But at the same time, I think we need to know how to balance this, right?
Preetha, but if you look at those social media platforms itself, right? If you pick up an example of an actor, a movie actor, you'll find in person, maybe the person could be very shy introvert. There might not be any social media engagement only. But flip that to a character artist or a role play, the moment camera runs in, you'll see a different personality altogether. So you'll start visualizing, is this the same person you see live in person? They look different, they behave differently. So professionally, we are all different. Personally, we'll all be different. So that's a mask that we have certainly.
Yeah. So you're playing. So what you're saying is we are different in the personal and the professional world. So there are masks that we wear. So I don't know if you're agreeing with the point that whether we should have both our personal and professional. So there's one point that I would like to say here, Swami, is I think people would know you, people would know your personality, while how much ever you change roles in the different, whether it's professional or personal, you need to be able to play different roles. But people know your personality, and so if you see nowadays, there's a lot of emphasis on, okay, if you have a hobby, it's important people to should know that what is your hobby. For example, you don't have to get really deep into your personal life, but there are if you're at a level, people want to know what are other things that you do apart from just say being the CEO. So there is, as a leader, once you become a public figure, then probably there is an overlap.
Sure. Yeah, it is for sure. Some of your habits will make an impact, right?
Yes. Habits. Very well said. One is a habit, and so sure. So that's a very vast. So I think it's again depends on the person how they want to balance that.
Correct.
Isn't it, Swami? Can I conclude it that way as to?
Pretty much.
Hello, I can't hear you clearly, Swami.
Okay, is it better now?
Can you increase the volume?
Is it better now?
No, your volume has gone down suddenly. It was very clear till now.
Okay. Is it better now?
No. It's so maybe what you can do,
Okay.
Maybe I can add you again if that's
sure. Because I have not changed the volume as such.
Sorry?
I have not changed the volume control as such. It's the same.
Yeah, so I don't know what has happened because your volume has really gone down suddenly. So I'm not sure what is the.
So you want me to try again?
One thing we can do is I can put you off and add you again. I'll add you again. 1 second. So sorry guys, all the people who are watching, there is this technology issue that we have been facing. It has happened once earlier too, but I think when I did this the last time, it did work better. So let's see if Swami gets connected again. So great, while he's getting, Swami.
Yeah, I think is it better now?
No, I don't know, something is wrong. The volume has gone down. I'm not sure whether it was my phone or your phone, but you're in the I don't know if you want to remove your earphone. Could that be an issue?
No.
No. It's just gone very low. I can hear you, but it's very low.
Is it better now?
Slightly better, but I don't know if I can edit this video later, but the second part of it. So, sure, so I think what we'll do is I'll ask you 2-3 more questions and we can sort of, conclude it. Yep. So we did speak about the cyber stalking and things like that. So I had two more questions. So what else do you foresee in terms of in this particular area of e-learning industry and women power and digital entrepreneurship? What else do you foresee to happen? What are those top 2 things or top actions that one you said is women should reflect themselves and see if they can take the risks that are required, right? And what else, can you just say conclude by what would be the action that say a woman needs to take the first step towards digital entrepreneurship?
So I think the first step is the self-belief that you can go and do it. There will be multiple roles, responsibilities that we all will end up playing. be vocal about your interests and what you want to pursue. If you're not vocal, you are giving up in the mind itself, saying your different roles that you're playing. Okay, let me succumb to the requirements of being a mother or various other roles. So I think you need to be very clear in the mind what is your priority. And
right.
if
you keep saying this, Swami.
So if your priority is very clear, then you start chasing the dream. Then universe will support for sure.
Perfect. So what you're saying is, in fact, Khande Karati, or I don't know, I hope I'm pronouncing he's saying that he's able to hear us clearly, so it's fine. I think we can continue. It's probably something my end. But what you're saying is self-belief and to be able to prioritize. The moment that part of it is clear, whether it is man or women, I think we are set in terms of the goal that we want to achieve, and we just have to drive. We should need to have that self-drive, right, Swami? In saying
Absolutely.
that, okay. So I typically ask you to ask me a question. I mean, I've been asking everyone to do that. Towards the end, it's time for you to ask me a question, and then we'll sort of end in a lighter note. So you can do that as to whatever question that you want to ask me, business related, and that's one. The second thing is, I'm just having a look at whether I've covered all the areas. I think we've spoken, because when we started off itself, I think you gave in a lot of points about the topic in terms of digital women and digital space.
Right.
So Swami, go ahead. Time for you to ask me a question.
I think one question that comes to my mind is looking at the topic, right? How can we be a support system, we as in men, be a support system to the women business owners in our lives?
So you asked me, how can men be a support system to women, right? During this time or generally in life, right? I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah, generally in life.
Generally in life. Okay, so this is of course a $1 million question, sorry. So I think especially when a woman is wanting to take a step or is wanting to take any kind of initiative, right? That's the time I think a man, I mean, especially a man in the house, so to say, needs to just support the woman in terms of acknowledging that, okay, you're taking a step, so go ahead and do it. And what else? So have a sort of a meaningful discussion as on what kind of help. Many times what happens is men go with an attitude of providing a solution to everything that a woman is trying to say to that him. So it is more that probably she wants to just have the man to listen rather than provide a solution. So there may be thoughts, there may be plans, there may be ideas already in place that the person has, and now she's wanting to share that with you and sort of take in more points from you, and she will finally decide what she wants to do. So it doesn't mean that whenever you go with a problem, they're looking for a solution from a man, because this is the attitude that I've seen, that whenever you go share certain things, I said, okay, I've told you, you can do this, and things like that. But that's not what probably a woman is looking at. It's just being silent and hearing her out and giving those gestures of support that, yes, go ahead and do it. Even if you feel that it may be wrong, even if you feel that logic is not there in certain things that she may be saying. So when the initiative is taken, I think the support has to be there. Otherwise, there is a tendency to take a back step, because there is a feeling that, oh, okay, there isn't support, because already there probably isn't a financial support that is there. So there is a lot of hesitation in taking steps. So if it's even if a little step that you say, you see a woman doing, I think there should be a lot of support given. Support in terms of listening is my view. And also changing the narrative at times, saying it's not a man or a woman, but it's something that you want to talk about, which we can together work on. That's probably the attitude that we might want to look at. Swami,
Sure.
I can't see you. Can you just come a little? Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. You're a little, you're too behind. Yeah.
I think so.
Sure, Swami.
Yeah, no, I think great points, Preetha. I think the least that we could do as men is give our ears and listen.
Sure. Thanks, Swami. So we've been talking a lot about women power and things like that. So one thing that I want to tell you is that I'm not a feminist and I'm not trying to say that a woman is better than a man or whatever. And we understand that we need to play both the roles, like, right? At the same time, when you go back today, what do you think you want to do to that women in your life? Not women, woman, one woman in your life. After this interview, let's just end in a lighter note. Yeah. What do you think you want to do for that her in your life?
I think it's a deep question to introspect. Fundamentally, I have not given enough time. To be more honest, I have not given enough time. Like most men, never given a thought about what are the things that they might be going through. The least that they look for, or I know for sure, is time. You just give time, the rest of the things will be taken care. I think that's one thing. That the guilt is there, but yeah, that's one thing maybe I would want to try and improve on.
Okay, so what you're saying is just give time.
Yep. So if you give time, right, rest of things would be taken.
Swami, sometimes you don't have to think so deep. Just go do that. Probably just giving that half an hour time might help. Great, Swami. Great knowing you off late and also interacting with you and talking on a sensitive topic like this and having agreed for this in a jiffy. I mean, at the moment I asked, you immediately agreed. I'm so thankful. We've got some very, very valid points here. And I hope women take that as notes, for both of us to look at and reflect and work on a day-to-day life, in our day-to-day lives. Yeah. Thanks again, Swami. And